What is up, my friends? DK Curry here. It is Two Dudes Talking, a really super awesome, wicked amazing network marketing podcast about you and helping you figure this whole niche out, this whole thing that we're doing here, which is building incredible passive residual income. And today, episode 10, Curry, 10 episodes, my friend. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we're just getting this thing started, man. You fired up for episode 10 here?
I am, man. It's been fun. It's so fun talking about something you love talking about, something you enjoy talking about, things that have changed your life and changed thousands and thousands of other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's easy. It's just like two guys talking. It's exactly the title. It's just
I
two dudes
know.
talking,
Talk about a
and
perfect name, right?
right, it has just been painless. So I
Yeah.
love it, man. And I can't, like you just said, I couldn't believe we were at 10 already, and we're like, it'll be 100 soon. And this is just fun to do.
Yeah, and the topics are endless too because it's like there's so many different aspects, angles inside of network marketing, from the front end to the back end to in between and training and growth and, all that cool stuff. Today's topic, oh, by the way, before we introduce today's topic, if you are new here, smash that subscribe button. I'm sure it's there on your screen somewhere. Also, hit that bell icon, doodad. Yeah, it's a doodad. It's really cool because if you hit that, it will notify you first anytime we upload a new video, a short, if we go live, all that sort of good stuff. So do that. Now, today's topic, overcoming excuses. I think I have a concept here. I have a theory here. And I'm gonna address that a little later. So remind me a little bit later because there's overcoming excuses is one way to look at it, and then there's I think a DK way to look at it. I don't know if it's my way to look at it, but I have a theory on this. But a lot of people, when it comes to popping the question, getting down on one knee, or saying, "Hey, are you ready to join? Are you ready to enroll? Is this something that you'd be interested in?" When you ask the question, people have insert excuse here. Now, Curry, what is your theory on this? What is your method of attack on this for your team, or just how you've handled this over the years when it comes to excuses?
So what I want to point out really fast is the fact that we don't plan this. There is
No.
nothing about this conversation that is planned other than we pick a topic at right before we get started to do these calls. Because the funny part is I'm not thinking about objections in this conversation. I'm thinking about the excuses we make for not building our business. Like
Uh
when
huh.
you talk about, our excuses, we're gonna face a billion objections. I'm actually even writing a new book right now about objection handling,
Hmm.
and that this the idea of the excuses people give us for why they won't start. I think that we need to address the objection of why you won't start after you get started. Like you literally make the decision, I want to be part of this thing, and then fail to be part of this thing. And then what I really love, and I faced this week on social media, was people saying, well, I would never be part of that company, even though they already were. Like they already had signed up and then told the world that they were a quitter. And so it's like, you just explained to everybody about you. And it's like, you didn't make a dent in our business. You're going to like, what? Your network's worthless. What are you doing? Like,
Hmm.
don't burn your own bridge. But anyways, so dude, the excuses that people come up with after they make a weak decision, like the lack of an all in, the lack of belief, the lack of any of it is tough, and we all have to get to a place. We all do.
Hmm.
I'll throw it back to you for a minute.
Well, when I think of excuses, again, we've talked about this format, I guess, a little bit multiple times in different episodes here. I like to keep it really stupid simple. When it comes to anything in life, I like to keep things as finite, linear, singular as possible. And what I found over the years is there's three main types of excuses that people have. And it's Time, money, know how, right? I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't know how. So, when people are looking to get started, looking to join, looking whatever, it's like those are the three that they reach into their pocket for. Those are the most popular excuses that I've found. Occasionally, well, I'm dealing with some things with my family right now, and it's not a good time. And well, okay. Um, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple thing: you either want it or you don't. Go back to the Jim Rohn line, which we've used 100 times here already. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll create an excuse. Game over, right? But when I have those three most common excuses right there, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't know how. I can help people with that very, very quickly. So I don't have the time. Okay, cool. You can build this business in about an hour a day, and that's ballparking it. And you're just putting out little pieces of content on social, and you can break that up all throughout the day. So you could take 10 minutes in the morning, you could take 10 minutes in mid morning, you could take 10 minutes in the early afternoon, 10 minutes in, the early evening, 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes before you go to bed. You could break it all up. So are you realistically gonna tell me that you don't have 10 minutes here and there throughout the entire day to just take a piece of content and post it? Even if it was 5 minutes, are you honestly going to tell me that your day is so busy that you can't take 5 minutes to create a post on Facebook? Are you telling me that? And most people will be like, well, and you could see the excuse wheel starting to turn, whatever. But when you look at time and you break down how much time it actually takes, we all know that, let's just call it what it is. Time is an excuse. People will use time even though they actually have the time, because everybody that I've found, everyone that uses time as an excuse has a Netflix and or Hulu account and probably watches 1 to 2 episodes of something per day, and it comes down to priorities. They don't want it. It's not a priority, so insert excuse here. Would you agree or disagree with that, Curry?
I would, and I think that for me, when I've become so blunt with my responses to people,
Oh yeah, that was an easy response for me.
yeah, yeah. The response for me is like, look, there's the bigger question you have to ask yourself is, would an extra $500 a month help your family? And is $500 extra a month, just as a minimum idea, uh, worth you giving up a TV show a day?
Mm-hmm.
Just one. Give up one show. Give
That's a
up a
great
ball
question.
game. Give
Can
up.
you just reiterate that real quick so everybody can hear that? Like, would you give up this to have that?
Yeah. Would you give up? What would you do to have that 500 extra dollars a month? What if it was $1,000 a month? What if it
Mm-hmm.
was? What if it grew to $10,000 a month in 5 years? I just like to throw out just simple, just like let here the way that I've come to understand this growth for all of us is, look, Bob, you've been doing your job for the last 10, 15 years. You've worked your way into a nice salary. You got a salary that, 50, $60,000 a year. It's taken you that long to get to this point in your growth. If I could show you a way to make an extra 500 a month, that's 6,000, whatever that is a year,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have that because you gave up one TV show an evening and you followed the system that we've got in place, would it be worth it at the end of a year? Would it be worth it if that grew to $5,000 a year? Would it, or $5,000 a month? Would it be worth it if it grew? You have to make the decision, Bob, for you, because I can't make you do it. I can't twist your arm, and it's going to be your decision. And when you fail, it'll be your decision to fail.
Yeah. Boom. Mic drop. I think sometimes when you paint the picture for people like you just did, again, it really just makes it cut and dry. It makes it really simple. And, you know, you got to keep it simple, guys. You got to keep it really, really simple and stick to the facts that you know. And that's kind of why we're covering some of this stuff with you guys, just to give you guys some of these ideas, these theories, these thought processes that you guys can use. So I
So
think that was a
Dave,
great.
before you go, let's get a little personal real fast for everybody.
Sure.
And I'm not meaning to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. What, like when you first found this pathway, this idea of creating extra income, this your life didn't have this in it. There were things that you had to adjust over time
Hmm.
to prioritize this in your life. What was something that you enjoyed doing that was sucking up your time that you had to make a sacrifice?
I think back for me personally, I think back to where I was. So it was 2016. I think back to where I was. I was working a full-time job. I was a store manager at a big orange box. You guys know what it is. Um, and I would come home, hang out with the fam, do dinner, and then usually it was just we would sit down and we would watch TV and we would do whatever. And then once it was uh, time for our son to go to bed, like that was it. And then the wife and I would probably watch more TV. So, I mean, there was that. Maybe would go out to eat or whatever, but it was relatively simple. It just mean for me, it was less time with my wife, and it was less time in front of the TV. So if I really boiled it down, it was definitely less time with my wife, less time with the TV. In order for me to get into the office, hunker down, study, focus, act, apply, all of those things. Um, but I also knew that it wasn't permanent. It wasn't a
Right.
permanent adjustment. It was a temporary adjustment to build the growth, to get the education that I needed to go do the thing to understand it. And to be honest with you, it took me it took me almost 12 months to figure out that I needed to create a schedule to give up the thing to go do the thing.
Right.
That makes sense.
Oh, listen, I remember the day I got started in my thing back then, 10 years ago. And I literally hung up the phone and then picked up my Xbox controller and kept playing Xbox. Like I signed up and I went right back to the life that I had already been living. And for 3 months, I didn't get it. I didn't even know that I really was in a business. And I
Hmm.
sat there and in all of my free time, I was playing video games.
Yep.
And when I found out what this was, I actually took my video game system out of the TV, out of the room, and started making little adjustments and started saying, "Look, I don't have time for this because this is possible."
Hmm.
So I had to discover my own excuses to myself and literally remove those from my existence. And it's like when we talk to people and they say they don't have time,
Hmm.
we sometimes they don't see the time they waste.
Hmm.
And you have to be okay with saying, look, what is it that you do with all of your time? Have
Hmm.
a conversation with them. Like, look, I'm not trying to convince you to do this. I'm trying to show you you can.
Hmm. Yeah, we're not in the convincing game by any
No.
means.
And we don't. That's. I wish this phrase people would believe in a lot more. How people buy is how they will sell. So if you have to convince them to buy, you will have to convince them to build their business. If you
Yeah.
have to convince them to get started, you're going to have to convince them to stay in. And
Yeah.
you're just going to be in this constant loop. So you have to help people understand if they want to live with their excuses and you already you gave it your best shot. Next.
Hmm. And that, yeah, I mean, that kind of boils back to a point that we talked about before, where it's, some people are going to get it, some people are not going to get it. We want to work with the people that get it, and it's as simple as that.
Had
So,
you been approached before?
have I been approached?
Before you got started, when you were like, had someone approached you before about some opportunity and you told them no?
Oh, I've told people no 100 times.
I mean, before, Dan, before you got started and you fell in love with it. Like, so for me, my buddy I was in the Army with came to me in 2012 with the same exact video, the
Hmm.
same resource. And I said no.
Yeah.
In 2014, my life had changed a little bit and I was in transition and
Yep.
I was open and I said yes. He followed up for 2 years,
Hmm.
didn't bug me, didn't try to convince me. He just found little moments that were just like, hey, just seeing if maybe this might fit in your life a little bit better now.
Yeah.
And guys, you don't know when like you don't want to
You never know
always
when someone's ready.
you don't. You just and that's what you're actually looking for is the people who are ready. And it's like it's not up to you to make them ready. It's up to you to go show more people.
Hmm.
So back to excuses. I just love that I'm finding my own. Like the discovery of, it's like look what we overcame.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Um, yeah. Another big one is time. Well, we just talked about time, right? So the other
Yeah.
one is I don't have the money. And I
Money.
think about, the majority of my opportunities that I've all done over the years, they've all been less than $100. Some of them as low as $20. And I think I literally kind of laugh, and no jab intended here, but like when people are like, "Oh, I'd love to do it, but I don't have the money." I'm like, "You don't have $20? Like, you don't have $20." And I, the overcoming, if we're talking overcoming excuses here, again, it just boils down to, especially when it comes to money, out of the big three main excuses, when it comes to, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, don't know how. When you look at money, when someone says, I don't have the money, AKA, I don't have $20, $10, $50, whatever it is, that person is about as broken as broken can get from a mindset and attitude standpoint. That is a conversation personally for me that I would walk away from instantly. I wouldn't even try to overcome that objection. That's just me. But if someone really wanted this bad enough, and you could ask them the qualifying questions, and you could say, hey, how bad do you want this? And then you could go, hey, do you think you maybe have some stuff around your house that you could sell on the Facebook marketplace and you could come up with the $7 to join, the $10 to join, the $25 to join? And of course they can. But again, when people use money as an excuse, they're almost broken down so much mentally that it's for you to overcome that excuse is, I'm just telling you, is going to be incredibly challenging. Now, Curry, a quick yes or no. If someone said, I don't have the money, have you ever overcome that to get them to get the money?
A couple times.
Yeah.
A couple. But
How hard did you have to work to do that?
I don't want to make too much of a pause, but I do want to say that I don't I don't play the game. So
Sure.
I don't I'm
Exactly.
not in the I don't handle that objection well either.
Hmm.
So mine is so direct with them that look, if you can't come up with $20, $50, $100, this isn't for you. If you
Exactly. Yep.
can't find the ability to create that money, where do you think you're going to come up with the ability to create more money?
Mm.
And you got to want it. And I was about to ask you, how do you feel about paying for people to get started? I almost
No,
no.
never,
By the way, we've
not
all done
once,
it.
ever.
Have you never done it? Come
I
on.
have I have ran a promotion before
Oh yeah, that's
where
not
I
the
could
same
buy coupons with my
thing.
business. I can buy coupons and I can give people a code and it gives them a percentage off.
Oh, okay.
Um, I've done that before, but I will not and haven't ever, at least as far as I can remember, ever paid for somebody to start.
Boy, I've done it a bunch. I have given away positions. I've given away spots. I've given away, and I've had some people that in my life that I knew personally, and I was like, "Look, I will personally sponsor your position just because I want you to grow with us." And every single time, not one exception, has it just been a waste of money. not one exception. If, and this is something that you guys who are watching this have to really grasp this. If they don't want to do it, they ain't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't even going to have a desire in their heart. So if you give it to them, they never wanted it to begin with.
Uh-huh.
Why they ain't coming to you for the info? They ain't coming to you to get started. It's like you cannot give anyone something. Make them show a desire for it.
These are like I don't remember the movie, but there was a movie where it was kind of like if you had the power to read someone's mind, you can always like maybe anticipate their thoughts, but like you can't change someone's will.
Right.
You can't change their will and what they're gonna do. Um, and yeah, it's like, you know, you could give somebody a membership, you could get them in, but again, if they're not saying, "Hey, I really want to do this, like let's go do this, let's go build this," then you know, is that going to end up working out for you in the end? I don't know. I mean, usually
Yeah,
if you,
lots of services do things like that. Your gym may offer a free 1 month trial.
yeah,
But the reality is, you got to walk down to that gym or walk into that gym and tell them you want it. And
yeah,
then try it, then you go try it for a month. Most of the time, what we experience in this industry is you show it to them, and then they say they don't have the money, and then you feel bad. You have this emotional response
mm-hmm,
to their excuse, and then you say, okay, well, I'll sponsor you if, and or you make some kind of weird
mm-hmm.
concession, and that is your failure. You got to be in this, and I hate the idea of greed. I don't like the idea of greed, but if you're not in this to make money, I've been dealing with this conversation for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the concept of being in network marketing if you don't want to make money. There's people that literally will tell you that they're in it for the social. I'm in it because of the group of people. I want to surround myself with better people. I want to be on the Zooms and just show up and sit there and do nothing. And I want to show up and be seen. And I want to be part of the community. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign you up so that you could be part of a community. I signed
Yeah.
you up because
We
I
call
wanted
those
you.
cheerleaders.
Right. I'm like, we want you to make money. We
Yeah.
really, really want you to win at this because your success showcases that this thing works.
Yep.
But if you fail, if you live in your excuses, it don't work.
True story. True story. Um, yeah, I refer to those people as cheerleaders. They're on every Zoom, every
Everyone.
training. You know, they show up to every Facebook Live. They're there. They're in the comments. They're putting the thumbs up and they're liking and everything. But they take zero action. You know, they don't they don't do the work. They don't put out the content. They don't, you know, do the thing. But they love being there. And
And they don't. And the weird part is when you talk to them about it, they don't really even understand why they don't either. Like, and it's like some level of fear, but we ain't going to get into that right now. But
yeah.
whatever excuse they have for getting started or getting, running their business, they will definitely show up. And the people in the Zoom that show up make me crazy. They say like some leader is training and talking or giving guidance, and they're in the comments as if their value that they're giving in the comments is like more than the person speaking. It's like,
Yep.
I don't want you talking. Just ignore. Like, just sit there. Sit
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
So
So
I went off massive tangent there. My
that's,
brain.
you know what, that's okay though, because it just, I think of that too. And I kind of get on people where, um, I get on people where if I'm doing a training on something, you know, I'm in a Zoom and let's say I'm leading the Zoom and I'm doing a training on something and people are in the comments trying to, like, someone will bring up a question. Oh, hey, well, how do you do X, Y, and Z? And then Joe Schmo cheerleader will be like, oh, well, I think you got to go do this. And I'm like, do not answer the questions that are being asked in the chat. because I am the trainer. I am the lead trainer here. I'm teaching this segment, and then I'll have people step up and be like, "Well, you gotta do this," and they're like, "No, you're wrong. Stop giving people the wrong advice."
The best way to be, the best way to describe this is like, look, if you were able to train, you would be the one training. If
Mm,
your comments and value aren't there yet, like
yeah,
we want you to duplicate what we're doing. We want you to step up into, but we all had to grow to this point.
yeah.
We didn't
Focus on
start out.
listening.
Yeah, we didn't start out this way. We had to grow into this. And we've talked about this endlessly. It's like there's a development process that we all come through. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, neither Dan nor I was
Hmm.
leading and teaching and training. We've developed into this phase. And now
Yep.
we're podcasting. We're now teaching thousands and thousands of people to do this better and to be better in themselves. And we want you to overcome your own excuses.
Hmm. Yeah. So let's shift into the last excuse, which is we talked about time, talked about money. Now let's talk about I don't know how, because this one's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
This one's probably my favorite. When people are like, "Yeah, I'd love to do," and it could be anything. Get started. I don't know how. It seems complicated, or you could be talking about how to build and grow your business. Well, I don't know how to do that. For me, so let's just be blunt and direct. Let's just be DK and Curry here, because for me, when someone says to me in this day and age, this is 2025, in the information age, we are in the age of technology, AI, and so much cool stuff out there. When people say, I don't know how to do something, I just see laziness. You might as well just say, I'm lazy and I don't feel like looking it up, because you have this right here. All of you that's watching this, that's hearing my voice, you have some form of technology in your hand and access to the interwebs. You could literally look up and learn anything you want to do in life. You need to fix your dryer. I've done that. I don't have any AC, by the way. I'm in the same boat as you were a couple of weeks ago. I don't have any AC. I had to go do some whatever and figure some stuff out. Um, you could look up and learn how to do anything you want with this thing in your hand. But instead, you're going to insert the excuse of I don't know how. It just means you don't feel like it. That's really all it means, because if you wanted to learn how to, you know, create a social media account, if I wanted to learn how to create a new TikTok account, if I wanted to learn, the fastest way, and I teach my team how to do this. Hey, what's the fastest way to grow a LinkedIn account, a TikTok account, an Instagram account, a YouTube account? Go to ChatGPT, ask the question. They will literally give you the step by step. Go here, click this, do this, put this type of profile info, whatever it is. Put this type of bio in there. Use this type of cover photo. Use this type of profile picture. You could get it step by step if you wanted it. So I think it's really interesting when people bring up that excuse, because that's when, unfortunately for some and for me sometimes, like that's where my bluntness comes out. Where I'm just like, wait a minute, hold on. Do you have a phone in your hand right now? Yeah. Okay, so if you went to Google, or if you went to ChatGPT, or if you went to YouTube and you looked up how do I, and I've even done this on team trainings where people will put in the comments, "Oh, I don't know how to do that." And I'll be like, "Okay, Martha, let's go over to YouTube. Let's all be Martha here for a second." And I go over and I go, "Martha just asked, I don't know how to do TikTok." And I go over to ChatGPT and I type in TikTok, type in, "Hey, how do I create a brand new TikTok account?" And I ask it, and there's here's your 5 steps. I said, "Martha, was that helpful?" "Oh my gosh, yes, thank you." And I said, "Why do you need me to answer that question for you? Like, why do you need me to tell you it's okay?" And and the same thing. I had a guy on a Zoom training yesterday, because we were talking about video editing. Now, video editing is a little more advanced, right?
Yeah, big
And
time.
people could be like, "Whoa, hey," and first time I ever used iMovie, I was like, "Whoa, hey," but I just said, "Well, let me just go slow. Let me play around. I'm not going to break anything. Let me just take it one step at a time." And this guy says, "Well, I don't know how to I don't know how to edit a video from once I record a video in Zoom, I don't know how to edit it. I was like, well, what are you using? iMovie. Okay, cool. Share my screen. I went over to YouTube. Hey, how do you edit a Zoom video? Boom. We found literally a playlist of step by step how to use, whether it be Veed or iMovie or whatever. And it's like, boom, here's a whole playlist of how to edit videos from your computer. And I was like, was that helpful? And it's like, yeah, that was great. Awesome. It's like, but again, like, why do you need me for that? Instead of saying, I don't know how, like, why not be resourceful? Why not use the little device that's in your hand right now versus coming up with the excuse of, I don't know how?
I
It's
think there's
just,
a lot of programming too, man. I think there's these people have been completely demolished as human beings. We all have. Of
I'll
we
tell you
got
the
to
most
stay.
obvious
We got to
answer.
stay. Yeah, go ahead.
The most obvious answer why people say I don't know how is because it's easy. And that
It
goes
is.
exactly back to what you just said. We've been programmed over the years of, well, I don't know how to do that. And
We got.
it's so
They
easy.
try to stay in their lane, man. They stay in their
It's
lane.
so easy to just be like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. Oh, you're right. Man,
See, my
you are right.
the whole time you've been talking, I've just been thinking about my little girl. My girl's 16, and when she was, I don't know, 6, 7, the world was a rage about slime. And my little girl went to YouTube and discovered how to make slime, and she forced us to buy ingredients and destroyed our kitchen and dining room to make, I mean, a bazillion different types of slimes
Mm-hmm.
and all types of things. And she then taught herself sign language and then taught herself how to play the ukulele and taught herself how to do all, like, she has been in this whirlwind of, if I think it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And she knows that my son, if he gets stuck in a video game, it is literally go to YouTube, see where the stuck is, and I'm going to figure out how to get past the moment. But there was a moment in my son's life where I remember that he was frustrated that he didn't know how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, you have to show, I do say, you have to show people there are options to find out how. Like, you're telling people, let's go to ChatGPT, let's go to YouTube, let's go. And for some reason, they need that little push.
Yeah.
But what I have discovered, and this is going to be probably one of the most valuable things I can deliver today, there are red flags. There are red flags to time vampires. Okay. If you show them how and they keep coming back to you with more questions, they don't want to know. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to continue living
100%.
in that excuse. And
100%.
you've got to literally cut those people out.
Yeah.
You've got to. And that's painful. One of my biggest mentors taught it to me a long time ago. The only reason to sponsor a person is to eliminate them as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And if they won't plug in and they won't follow the system and they won't listen, let them go. Let them figure it out and stop giving them your most valuable asset, your time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've made it clear to, my teams over the years that, when people are asking me and they're reaching out and they're asking me like basic questions, being the time vampires, like, hey, how do I edit a video here? How do I, stuff that is outside of our team, outside of maybe the company, outside of, whatever it is. And it's, real basic questions. I said on the Zoom I was on yesterday, I'm like, you guys don't need me for this. You don't need me to help you figure out how to edit a video. You don't need me to help you figure out TikTok. You don't need me to help you figure out, YouTube. I'm like, you have all of that. You have it. You just have to have, again, whether it's, you can boil it down to two different things. It could be a laziness thing, and like you said, like they don't want to learn. They don't want to know. It could be laziness, it could be fear. Or it just could be like, it could just be confidence. They need that little extra like, oh yeah, you know what, I can figure this out. Maybe they need that little extra push. Um, but I have an interesting. Let me know your thoughts on this, Curry. I have an interesting theory for me. I brought this up in the beginning with all three of these excuses, and this is easier to say, harder to do. But for some, and you can get to this point. For me, anytime I present the information, whether it be a presentation, you ask the question, whatever it is, when you're at a point where you present the information and then the excuses come, whether it be time, money, know how, whatever, when the excuses come back, my thought process on that sometimes, and a lot of the times, is I don't care and I just delete the message. Because once the excuse happens and they start going down the I can't, I won't, whatever, for myself, and I know there's a lot of other creators out there. You had mentioned, some people that in your business that were killing it. I have so many messages and so many people reaching out. I don't care about the excuses. I don't entertain the excuses. If someone says, I don't have the money, I don't even respond. If someone says, I don't have the time, I don't even respond. If someone says it seems complicated, I don't even respond.
I
So,
think uh, there's a validness to what you're saying, and then there's the people who, for the newer people in the industry, who seem to gravitate towards, well, I've got to try to rescue this one. I've got to
oh,
try to rescue this
yeah,
one. And you and I understand that it's a game of numbers, and we
yeah,
don't have any attachment to an individual. We don't care what they've done in their past. We don't care who they are. We don't care what their wealth is, what their time is, what their we don't care. We don't care. We just show people, if they want to do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't.
yep,
And we move on. And it's a serious number game. For the early person, they don't they don't they don't grasp that, and they think every single person is a potential big shot. Like they just have this,
yeah.
like, I
If
love
just
when,
get them on board,
yeah,
they'll
I
see the
love when I
light.
get the message from newer people. Oh man, I just got this one guy. This one guy, he's a big fish in this big town, and he's got all this potential, and then they never sign up. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then you got to help that person understand, you had an opinion on them, and you gave them value. They didn't give you value. And it's like, until a person shows you their value, they have zero value.
Yep.
You don't care. You have to, and that's the game, man. And it's all of us had to come through that stage of uh, lack of emotional attachments. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll bury myself with this. It'll be on my grave. He didn't care about nothing. Just
Yeah.
He didn't give a crap about none of it. He just did the thing.
Yep.
That's
I've
uh,
I've said it, I don't know how many thousands of times, like, in Zooms and trainings and whatever, talking to the teams. And, our job is not to fix people. We don't fix people. We literally present them with the information. The people that get it, get it. The people that don't, your job is not to be like, well, okay, let me explain. Or, well, let me help you with the fact that you don't have the money. Let me help you with the fact that you don't have the time. Like once you go down into the valley there and you start trying to push them up the hill, it's it's game over. And
yeah,
it's also a very quick way. It's a very quick way to get frustrated with the industry, to start the blame game. Well, I talked to 10 people and all I'm doing is trying to fix their this and their that. And it's a very quick way for you to run yourself down and get discouraged. Where when you adjust your paradigm and you adjust your mindset and how you look at things, for me, and this is just my way of looking at it, but when I see excuses, I, I don't, you can try to overcome them. You can overcome objections. You can try to go down that road, or you could just be like, oh, pff, deuces, I'm out, like, and just move on. Like, cause
Well, it's like this. It's the shoe store owner, right? The shoe store owner. You walk into a shoe store and you need a size 13, and the shoe store owner goes into the back and they find a shoe and they come back and go, "Well, we got a 10." Like, why are you trying to bring me a 10? Like, what conversation is about to happen where my foot doesn't feel the same way? It's like, you got to just go, no, we don't have a 13 and move on.
mm-hmm,
Like, and that shoe store owner knows there's going to be more people who want shoes. And you have to get to a point where you understand there's going to be more people. And here's, I love this, that people forget they got started. They
mm-hmm,
forget
mm-hmm,
that somebody found you, and they probably had to go through a lot of people to find you who is
mm-hmm,
actually wanting to build this and wanting to make it work. And you just have to find the people. And you have to, and it's like the idea of convincing a person is so I love that I had another leader in another company, the first company I was in, and he wasn't in my sponsorship. He was just part of the company, one of the trainers of the company. And they asked him, does he ever follow up? And he said, no, I would never follow up because there's so many more people. Like,
mm-hmm,
why am I going to chase anyone? If they don't get it and they don't see it and they don't want it, I'm never giving them my time. I'm not going to go back and try to, oh, maybe it's the right time for you now. Guys, what happens for all of us now, for the people who are building at a higher level and mental level, is we just let them sit there and watch. They just watch our timeline. They watch what we do online and they watch what our videos are. And then they go, okay, maybe they were right.
mm-hmm.
Maybe they want, and then they come to you. You don't got to go chase them. Let them sit there and watch. Don't delete them. Don't just let them sit there. And
Mm-hmm.
after a while, 6 months, a year, then delete them. Make room for more people.
True story. Yeah, and that's, you know, another realization that I hope people have is that um, there's I love when people, especially when it comes to excuses. I love people when bring up the phrase, "Oh, isn't that saturated?" It's just it's the craziest. Like, how is that even possible? Like, how is it physically, literally possible for a business opportunity to get saturated? And again, it just comes back to the excuses. So if someone were to ask me that, I would just be, probably a one word response for me would just be like, please. And I would just move on to the next person. At the end of the day, like, you
Make them
gotta,
explain it, man. Make them explain it. Just like the pyramid
oh,
scheme thing.
yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
do you mean?
Pyramid scheme meaning, or like
What do you
saturated
mean?
meaning, like meaning what? Like,
Yeah.
but again, it's like, it's for me. Yeah. When someone says pyramid scheme, this is where I'm going to tell you, do as I say, not as I do. Because when someone comes back and says pyramid scheme or whatever, like, the correct thing to do is just, swipe left or swipe whatever way, delete the message, just move on. For me, occasionally I like to play with them a little bit, but
Right.
I'm telling you not to do
Right.
that. So when someone, turns around and is like, oh, is that saturated? Like, yeah, you could play with them a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, again, value your time. And, just, you want to be at a level, you want to be at a point where when someone watches your presentation, when you give somebody the information for them to make an informed decision to get started, you want the people that, as an example for me, I could wake up to 3, 4, 5 sales. I could go throughout my day, not talk to a single person, and still get 5 sales. All of those people found me because of existing content that I have, or the content that I'm creating to drive people to an information page where they could watch a presentation, and boom, they get started without even having a conversation. Like, those are the self starters that we are after. Those are the go getters, the people that take action, versus the people that are now, if obviously if you're doing the DM thing and you're connecting with people more on a one-on-one, yeah, you will see more of the objections, but just remember that like you're looking for the people that watch the presentation. They're like, I get this. This is good. This is powerful. This is something that I want to do. I'm ready to go. Those are the people we're after. When you start seeing the time, the money, the don't know hows, those sort of things, you just gotta learn to. You're not there to fix. You're not there to convince. You're not there to rub their back and tell them everything's going to be okay. You, it's not what we're here for.
I have a hard time at this point in my journey not telling people to quit. I tell them all the time. I really am the worst leader on the planet. I'm just like somebody literally messaged me the other day and they were like, I see this person over here doing this thing. And I see this other leader over here teaching this way. And I literally replied back, I'd quit. I would. I'd just go ahead and quit. I said, if you're going to be bothered by these types of things, you ain't going to make it.
Yep.
So you either make a decision to be part of this or you go ahead and quit right now. Quit. I'm like, I don't give a crap if you quit. I don't. Just make a decision. Be bigger than anything, any excuse.
Yep. 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 Sometimes
And
you
by
got
the
to be.
way, to all of you watching and you're in network marketing and you are living in either excuse or results, if you just love your excuses, I, Curry Russell, would like to invite you to just go ahead and quit. I would. I just like figure it out. Pick one. We're proving to you, regardless of what company, we are not representing any companies in here. We are
Nope.
not. We want you to win. We're letting you know it's possible to win. It's not going to be easy. We talked about that in the last video.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy. In this video, we're talking about your excuses, whether getting started or getting started. But if you're going to hold on to excuses, if you're going to live in questions, this might not be for you. And you have to understand it's okay. It's totally okay. Quit.
It is totally okay. That's it. And again, bring it back to finite, linear, just singular stuff. Like everything, everything that you do from here on out to create the life, the income, the whatever it is that you want, all comes down to confidence. If you have the right mindset, attitude, confidence, and belief level in yourself, you will go do the thing. The excuses will start to fade away. And that's why it's important you build your mindset, you build your attitude, you work on your personal development every single day, and you can fix the confidence. You create the confidence, you create the belief level, and the excuses will start to fade. And then you can go do whatever it is. So you can get to that point, you can get to that place where you want to be. Otherwise, if you don't, you will quit. You will find an excuse, blame someone other than yourself, reach into your pocket and be like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't know how, like this isn't working. Cool, you're right, great. Golf clap. You're awesome. Like, it's all good. Like, but just realize, like, if you want to win this way, confidence, right? That's a C. Confidence.
I think it's backwards on my screen. It's over there. It don't make a difference. You were fine.
Confidence. You need to have the right level of confidence to go do this because the truth is the evidence is out there. The evidence is out there. People have proven, Curry, myself, thousands of others have proven that this business, this industry, this model works. You have undeniable proof out there
If you
that
need
this
proof,
is possible.
if you need further proof, just go to the DSN Top 100, Google it, DSN Top 100, and you're going to see the list of hundreds of people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible.
Yep.
It's not just possible. It's real. It's real. You can do it too. Those people were no different than you or me or Dan, and they just kept going.
Yep.
So
that's it.
That's it, man. I think we wrapped this. I think we
Episode
murdered
10
this one.
in the books. We're done. By the
We
way, if
got
you
a,
made it to this
we
point
got
in
a
the video,
decade.
smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. We would truly appreciate that. We're on our way to, I don't know how many hundreds of subscribers we have right now, but we're on our way to the next goal. And our first short term goal is to hit 1,000. And then we're going to go for the next one after that. But appreciate you being here. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for episode 11. Stay tuned. And make sure you hit that bell icon so that way we throw out every time we do one of these episodes. We'll grab some clips. We'll do some shorts. So be on the lookout for those and be on the lookout for episode 12 coming out
No,
soon.
11.
11. Episode 11.
We're
You
on
can also
10.
be on the lookout for episode 12 too,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
will
in the future.
just wait it because it will be there. That's it. Curry, thanks as always, man. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Appreciate it.
Take care.